then we're willing to do the reading for us. Isaiah 9, verses 1 to 7. Daughter spoken about her cousin having a house where she's been able to lead someone to the Lord. And tonight we're looking at Mary, who goes to her cousin, and great things happen there too. Lovely. Lovely what happens in a home and in a family. Oh, Isaiah 9, verses 1 to 7.
Isaiah 9, 1 to 7. Nevertheless, there will be no more gloom for those who are in distress. In the past he humbled the land of Zebulun and the land of Naphtali, but in the future he will honour Galilee of the Gentiles by the way of the sea along the Jordan. The people walking darkness have seen a great light. On those living in the land of the shadow of death, a light has dawned. You have enlarged the nation and increased their joy. They rejoice before you as people rejoice at the harvest, as men rejoice when dividing the plunder. For as in the day of Midian's defeat, you have shattered the yoke that burdens them, and the bar across their shoulders, the rod of their oppressor. Every warrior's boot used in the battle, and every garment rolled in blood, will be destined for burning, will be fuel for the fire. For to us a child is born, to us a son is given, and the government will be on his shoulders, and he will be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. Of the increase of his government and peace there will be no end. He will reign on David's throne and over his kingdom, establish and upholding it with justice and righteousness, that time on and forever. The zeal of the Lord Almighty will accomplish this. Praise be to the Lord.
Well, we continue in Isaiah, looking at the birth of the Lord. 2 weeks ago when we met together, we looked at Isaiah 52 and 53, and that strange way Isaiah looked at it. He looked at the exaltation of Christ first, before the suffering of Christ, and then after the suffering of Christ, he looks at his incarnation, his birth. It's like a reversal. It's almost like saying, now, what you're going to read now, coming up, you're not going to be comfortable with, but just remember this: Jesus wins. So he puts that at the front end of it, really, just as says that he will be exalted. No matter what you see after this, you need to know that. But sometimes Isaiah does that. He does it in one of the instances that we're going to look at in just a moment, where he reverses one of the descriptions of Christ, and then he gives us details concerning his birth. So, the Nativity. Now, I thought of this. I'm quite tough for this. The Nativity of Isaiah. We're looking at his deity, his ministry, and his authority. What do you think of that? There we are. I can do it, see? I tried it before, and I said, lost, loved, and lucky. When I first started preaching, I had to preach on 2 points. But there we are. His deity. Isaiah 7 to chapter 12, chapter 7 to chapter 12, the section that Isaiah pens, and it's for a specific period. It's that period just prior to when Assyria, which was the world power then, was about to come in and sweep over the northern kingdom of Israel and come to the neck, as Isaiah says. He comes to the walls of Jerusalem, but he goes no further. The Lord delivers them. And that section there, 7 to 12, is a wonderful section to read of God's delivering power. Now, the strange thing is, 3 times in that section of 6 chapters, Isaiah talks about the birth of Christ. It's an unusual thing, isn't it? But, we tend to think that the birth of Jesus has no relevance to the situation we're in. And yet, he's talking of a battle that's to come with Assyria, where he will sweep right across the land so that the northern part of Israel is cursed by it. And that curse wasn't lifted until Jesus came. And so Isaiah says, oh, this birth, this little bundle of life, you'll be amazed at what he's going to be able to do. And 3 times, chapter 7, chapter 9, and chapter 11, he tells us about the birth of this special one. So I thought we look at his deity, his ministry, and his authority. His deity then, it's the verse that we all know, right? Behold, the virgin, not a virgin, the virgin. The definite article is definitely there in the original. Behold, the virgin shall conceive and bear a son, and shall call his name Emmanuel. Now to us, when we use Emmanuel, unless someone tells us what it means, we're a bit lost for words as to what relevance it is. But it means this: God with us. There was an incredible plan unveiled in the book of Exodus and the book of Leviticus. And God said this: the tabernacle of God is with men. Now in those days, there was all the camp of Israel, and right dead center was God's house. You know, if you went there, everybody knew you were going. It was God's house. Now that doesn't find fulfillment until we come to Revelation in chapter 20 or 21, I think it is, where it says, behold, the tabernacle of God is with men. There's coming a day when we will be with him forevermore. He has been restless for generations. Do you appreciate that? He said to Isaiah once, he says, where is the place of my rest? He's seeking for rest, in one sense. The heavens, they can't contain him. How can a building hold him? And so God in Isaiah, towards the end of the book, he talks about the restlessness. Where is the place of my rest? Well, here's the keystone for it. Matthew says that this verse was fulfilled in the birth of Christ. The virgin did conceive and bear a son, and they called his name God with us. God with us. The company that he keeps. John puts it in, I suppose, a more spiritual attire. He dresses it up a little bit, but again, it's words that we understand. For the Word was made flesh and tabernacled. That word dwelt, tabernacled among us. He puts it in clear words. Later on in his first letter, he says these things to tell us how close Christ was, how close God was, that which was from the beginning, which we have heard, which we have seen with our own eyes, which we looked upon, and our hands have handled of the word of life. For the life was manifested, and we have seen it. Eternal life, which was with the Father. In that child, the deity of God is revealed. It's amazing what we see. Sometimes we say it out of habit. Oh, you pick up the baby for the first time. Oh, he's the spirit of his father. I remember when we saw Finn for the first time, and they were all telling me, oh, he looks like his mother's side. Do you know I saw my grandfather in him? Same nose, same eyes. I saw my elder brother in him. Same nose, same eyes. Don't look like him now, and he does look like his mother's side. But it's amazing in the different ways you look at things. When you look at this child, you will see God. Not from afar, but with us. With us. All the way my Saviour leads me. He's with us. His deity is revealed. Just simple terms that we're looking at, nothing complicated in that. His ministry. This is the one where Isaiah reverses it. He looks at his ministry first before looking at his birth. As I mentioned earlier on, he did it in Isaiah 52 and 53. This is what it says, really. We should read from chapter 8. So this is how we flow into it. This is verse 22 of chapter 8 in Isaiah now. Then they will look to the earth and see trouble and darkness, gloom of anguish, and they will be driven into darkness. Nevertheless. Are you glad that they're nevertheless? Nevertheless, not my will, but yours, Lord. Nevertheless. It's good to have a nevertheless now. It's good to have a but now and again, isn't it? But God, who is rich in mercy. It's good to have those little terms. Nevertheless, the gloom will not be upon her who is distressed. As when at first he lightly esteemed the land of Zebulun and the land of Naphtali, and afterward more heavily oppressed her by the way of the sea beyond the Jordan, in Galilee of the Gentiles. I forgot to write it out. I wished I'd written out the New Living Translation of that verse there, those first two verses. Absolutely stunning. There is coming a time, he says, when Zebulun and Naphtali will be humbled. But there is a time in the future, by the road that runs between the Jordan and the sea, Galilee of the Gentiles. And Galilee shall see the glory of the Lord. What a wonderful translation to put in there. The people who sat in darkness shall see a great light. And those who, where is it? I've got it written down here. No, I haven't got it written down. I said read this part here. Those who dwell in the land of the shadow of death, upon them a light is shine. His ministry from this little one. In this little one we see God. That's probably the biggest miracle of all, isn't it? You know, it's probably the greatest miracle of all, that in this little one is God. We see his, when I say carefreeness, I don't mean that he doesn't care less. He does care less. He does care. But there is a carelessness about him, a freedom that he has, that he's not afraid to make himself vulnerable. He's not afraid to just push out just that little bit further, so that even his own privileges have been stripped of him. Given up freely. Given up freely. It retained with him for all his days that he had power to raise him up. I know I say it. You say, well, can you talk about the resurrection at Christmas time? He had power to lay down his life and power to take it back again. But he refused to do it. He went into the grave in faith. Absolute faith and trust that the Spirit of glory would raise him up. So vulnerable he made himself. God in a grave. But you're not. In this little seed here. I think it was Willie Burton, when he was just a lad travelling with his father in New Zealand. And he went into this out-of-the-place farm. And this farmer turned. As they went out through the gate after spending a little time together, the farmer turned and put his head upon the child, who was at the most, I think, 5 years of age. Let this boy serve you in Africa. What a marvelous thing, isn't it? What you can see in an acorn. Yes. What can be seen here. This babe here. Look at his ministry. Galilee shall be filled with glory. A great light shall shine. See him coming over the hill into Nazareth, as Luke puts it. He comes over the hill and it says he was full of the power of the Holy Spirit. Full of the power. What light he brought, isn't it, you know? What light he brought, that first attendance in the synagogue in Capernaum, when he went in there. Wherever he went, he brought light and took away the darkness. Then we read in verses 3, 4 and 5, we read furthermore of his ministry. Look at verse 3, joy. He brings joy. Verse 4, he brings liberty. The yoke is a wonderful verse. Isaiah 10, verse 27 or 28. The yoke shall be broken because of the anointing. That's a wonderful thing, isn't it? You can come with an army of 185,000, as the Assyrians did, if you want. You can come with an army like that. But our God can take them out in a moment of time. Just the king and his cohorts returned back to the land. A whole generation of people lost their lives because they chose to stand against the Holy One of Israel. Joy, liberty. Look at verse 5, peace. The soldier's armor shall be burned. There'll be no. If you go over the page a little bit, where is it? Yeah, I think it's here, maybe chapter 11. Let me read you. These words are acquainted with. The wolf shall also dwell with the lamb. The leopard shall lie down with the young goat. The calf and the young lion and the fatling together, and a little child shall lead them. The cow and the bear shall graze. The young ones shall lie down together. The lion shall eat straw like the ox. The nursing child shall play on the cobra's hole, and the weaned child shall put his hand in the viper's den. They shall not hurt nor destroy in all my holy mountain, for the earth shall be full of the knowledge of the Lord, as the waters cover the sea. All in that little baby. It's amazing, isn't it? The ministry that's there. The ministry that turned Galilee upside down. Wonderful things that he did. And he's there in the arms of his mother. And they're looking at him and says, you know, we say it sometimes, we saw it with Del Boy, didn't we? The world's your oyster. We could turn and say to the world, not the world's your oyster, but he is your answer. He is your answer. Hold him up before you. Let's have a little look there. From whence then does this ministry come? Well, verse 6 tells us, for unto us a son is born, unto us a child is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulder. His name shall be called Wonderful, Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace, and of his government and peace there shall be no end. You see, this ministry comes out of one that's got loads of names. He got so many names. You know, someone could say, oh, what's your name? And you just tell them the name that you've got. In the funeral the other day, one of the family members said, when we give the condolences, could you just give the full name of the great-grandchildren? And so they wanted the hyphenated name that was in there, the full name. But generally it's just one name. He's got names all over the place. He told Moses one time, he says, listen now, my name is I Am. He says, I am what? And so what he did, he gave him his surname, see? Give him his surname first. And then as you go through the Old Testament, you find all these different names coming up. I am your peace. I am your forgiveness, your righteousness. I am your healing. I am this, I am that. I'm your shelter, I'm your answer. All these different, I'm your shepherd. All these different names. Here's a bundle of names here that allows us to see what brings this life, what brings this glory, what brings this joy, what brings this liberty, what brings this peace, what brings this wonder of it all. He's called Wonderful. What was that brother from Germany that John was friendly with now?
Brother Frank.
Brother Ewald Frank. I think he was with John, Pastor Cooper at one time, and it was a group of them together, and he said, someone said, oh, isn't it wonderful? And Brother Frank stopped whoever said it in their tracks and said, no, only God is wonderful. He is wonderful. Counselor, the mighty God, the everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace. What a well is in there, and when you dig down deep and you find out what's really in there, and you understand now from such a source, blessings flow. Let me say this, that blessed be the God and Father of our Lord Jesus Christ, who has blessed us with all spiritual blessings in Christ Jesus. He's in there, look. All those things are in that little bag. The wonder of it all. The wonder of it all. Let's have a little look at something else. I wasn't quite sure where to put majesty or authority. If you notice, this is a hint. TY is the end of each word. His authority. His authority. Let's have a look at Isaiah 10, verse 33, and then we'll read into chapter 11. The last two verses of chapter 10. Again, we're still talking about Assyria and the threat that it brings. And it shows the effect that it has, what the Lord's going to do, and how the kingdom will be when this one is born. Behold the Lord of hosts, will lop off the bow with terror. Those of high stature will be hewn down, and the haughty will be humbled. He'll cut down the thickets of the forest with iron, and the cedars of Lebanon will fall by the mighty one. And there shall come forth, after the devastation of Iraq, there shall come forth a shoot out of the trunk that has been cut down to its roots. That's what it literally means. There shall come forth a shoot from the stem of Jesse, a twig, a branch, something so insignificant shall grow out of his roots. But the one thing, you see, he could be God, but he had to be of the line of David as well. Some of us sometimes, we've got to be mother and father, and everything else all turned into one, haven't we? Sometimes we've got to cover so many bases. We've got to have our fingers in so many pies. And it's so difficult, in this sense, to understand. Oh, but out of this one comes one that is so humble, below the radar. You're not going to spot him. You're not going to spot him by natural looks. You're going to miss him. And one shall come forth out of the trunk that's been cut down to its roots. Notice how poor the line of David had become. Joseph and Mary could offer but 2 turtle doves when they offered it to the Lord. The normal offering was a lamb. The turtle dove was for those who didn't have the wealth. The line of David had been cut down to the roots. More than that, though, the line of David had become a spiritual birth. He shall grow up as a tender plant before him. A root out of a desert, a wilderness, a solitary place. It was a barren time when he came. But here we find the Master's come. See what Paul says. Do you wish you could write a letter like Paul? I write in cards and I think, oh, I probably said this to them last year. If they have 2 cards, they'd probably go, he said the same thing. Why didn't he just send the one card and we give it back to him? I don't know. I try my best to write in different things. But this is what Paul says. Paul, a bondservant of Jesus Christ, called to be an apostle, separated to the gospel of God, which God had promised before through his prophets by the scriptures concerning his Son, Jesus Christ, born of the line or seed of David according to the flesh. He had to be born of the line of David. He could be deity, but he had to become humanity. And he became of the line of David and was declared to be the Son of God with power. By the Spirit of, or according to the Spirit of holiness, by the resurrection from the dead. You see, Paul, he's talking about his birth, but he's talking about the resurrection in the same breath. You can't separate him from these things. They just go hand in hand to each thing. And so Paul talks here concerning his Son, Jesus Christ, born of the seed of David according to the flesh, but declared to be the Son of God with power. With power. Oh, it's a wonderful. When did this authority come to him then? Was it when he was a babe? Patiently he waited for 30 years. That's patience for you, isn't it? better patience for you. You get irritated. Different situations afflict us and trouble us. We get impatient, I know, anyhow. But when did it come? When John baptized Jesus in the river of Jordan, after everyone on a busy day had been baptized, there stood Jesus on the bank. And he went out to John and baptized him. This is what Isaiah says. And the Spirit of the Lord shall rest upon him. The Spirit of wisdom and understanding. We can be wise sometimes, but not very understanding. But he's got them both, see. He can front up to you, but he's understanding as well. Spirit of wisdom and understanding. The Spirit of counsel and might. The Spirit of knowledge and of the fear of the Lord. What a wonderful authority rests upon him. Have you tried to think of that chorus? Your Majesty, we can but bow. Oh, do you see him at his birth, his deity, his ministry, his authority? All power is given unto me in heaven and in earth. And in light of that, you go and be disciples and make disciples around the world. Jesus, in that manger, wonderful, wonderful day when God came down. Well, hope it's been of some encouragement to you.